Welcome to This Organized Life. If you're a mom, wife, or coffee lover seeking advice on how to reduce clutter and reclaim time, look no further than your host, Lori Palau, founder of Simply Be Organized and author of Hot Mess, a practical guide to getting organized. For a lot of people, clutter is their dirty little secret, but it doesn't have to be. Each week, we will share practical tips, chat with experts, and provide strategies on how to keep you organized. I hope that by sharing our stories, you feel a little less alone and more empowered to tackle the areas that are holding you back. So let's get started.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of This Organized Life. I'm your host, Lori Palau, and I'm so happy that you're here. So I'm actually doing something a little bit different, peeling back the curtain, and recording my introduction after my episode aired. I just got done recording with my good friend Amy Revell from the Art of Decluttering, and you're gonna hear her in a minute. Amy lives in Australia, and so in order for us to figure out a time to record, we are either very early in one person's time zone and very late in another person's time zone. And so I did not have the mental bandwidth to do a clever introduction. I was like, we just have to get into it, and I'm going to record it afterwards. So I just want to give you guys a little bit of introduction on Amy beforehand. She's the real deal. We've known each other for about 8 years now, maybe 8, 9 years. Gosh. She's also a organizer turned podcaster, but also sees private clients and loves to approach organizing and decluttering in a similar vein as I do, from a very analytical and scientific perspective, but also bringing that real human practical dynamic. And we love that. And she's been on my show at least 3 times. Don't quote me on what episodes because I could not tell you off the top of my head. But if you just Google Amy Revell, This Organized Life, you're going to come up with them. Also, I didn't, because we dove right into conversation, I didn't get a chance to really talk about some other things that are happening in our ecosystem here at TOL. We have some big news, I guess, for people that are interested on the organizing side of things, like professionally. So I get a lot of emails about doing episodes geared for professional organizers. And it's something that I've struggled with, and we've dabbled in it before, but I wanted to have a dedicated resource for people just wanting to start or grow an organizing business. And so we created, and it's actually been out for a little while, but we haven't really done any marketing for it. To be totally honest, with everything going on with clutter clinics and all the things, but it is a new podcast. It has its own RSS feed, so you can go and subscribe to it. Actually, if you're interested in learning about the business side of the business, go and subscribe to it. It's literally called Start and Grow an Organizing, or Start and Grow Your Organizing Business. It's really like as basic and as organic as you can get in terms of a title. It's nothing clever. And it is a 12 episode mini series. I recorded and released all the episodes, dropped them because the thought of juggling 2 live podcasts of different topics was just hurt my brain. So we recorded them. I might do a separate season and add additional episodes if you guys like it and it responds really well and you guys want more information. I'm happy to do it. But we're starting with these 12 episodes. It's totally free. And for anybody that is either has an organizing business, maybe you just started it, but like the business side of things you're struggling with, or maybe there's things in your business that you know that you've been avoiding, or you're not good at, or you want clarification on, this is a great resource for you. Now, if you're somebody that has been thinking about starting a professional organizing business and you're like, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what goes into it. I'm not sure what the start of, like, from the business side of things. Check this out. I mean, literally, it's going to cost you your time. That's it. You're already a podcast listener because you're listening to this episode. So you follow me so you have an idea of what that is. And they are short episodes. I mean, we're talking some episodes are 8 minutes, some episodes are 12 minutes. I think the longest one might be 20 minutes. So you can binge all 12 pretty quickly. We talk about pricing. We talk about marketing. We talk about contracts. We talk about building a website. We talk about creating an email list. A lot of the foundational pieces of starting a business. And if you love organizing, whether you are thinking about doing a side hustle, like I have a full time job and I'm not ready to give it up. I need the money, I need the benefits, but I really love this and I would love to bring in some additional revenue. This is for you. Maybe you are a mom and your kids are finally going to be out of the house for a few hours at school. And you're like, I need to do something that's flexible with their schedule. And I really like to organize. It comes very naturally to me. And I have one, maybe 2 days a week that I can do something. And I want to do something for me and start to build something. This might be for you. Maybe you're an empty nester and you are like, I would like to do something. Maybe you're retired. I've got people that are like, I'm a retired teacher and I just want to do something to keep my brain and my body like moving. And I just like to bring in a little bit of extra spending money. This is a great podcast for you. Start and grow your professional organizing business. Wherever you listen to podcasts, on our YouTube channel, check it out. Let me know what you think. And if you do listen, because it's a new podcast, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review it, that would be awesome. Just helps, not so much with discoverability, but just from street cred for other people that are like, oh, yeah, I'm looking for something. This would be awesome. So check that out. But now that I've gone through all that, I am going to introduce you or reintroduce you to my friend Amy Revell. Enjoy our conversation. Amy Revell, how are
Hello,
you?
my gorgeous friend.
So you are the only person I will do a recording at 7 a.m. Eastern time for.
And you're the only friend that I will record with at 9 p.m. when I should be going to bed. Because you're worth it, my friend.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, my dear friend Amy is in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, you did it.
And is no stranger to this show.
No, I love this show.
And it's very funny because when did you start your show? Like, I feel like
In
we started
2017.
Okay, we literally started the same.
I think it was the same time.
Yeah, we started the same time. And you consistently, if you look at my podcast library, like I have my staple shows, right? And then I bring in like new ones as I hear of them, or I'm like, or I get sick of ones and I like try to clean up my feed. And you are consistently always on my feed. But no, I mean this truly. And I don't always listen, right? Like, because life gets busy and you only have so many podcasting hours in a week or in a day, whatever. But you're always there. And the funniest thing, my hand to God, every time I am like, oh, I haven't listened to Amy in a while, and I pick up an episode, I swear to God, it aligns exactly with something that we are talking about on our show.
That's brilliant. I mean, I think that that's the beautiful thing about what we do, though, is because it fluctuates and flows, but it's always kind of centered. And so I love that. I love that as we listen to I love listening to other organizing podcasts because you're like, oh, yes, yeah. And it becomes like this whole picture of what we do and what we're trying to share with the world.
Yeah. So give our listeners, like I've set the stage. And again, for OG people, they've heard it before from me, but like tell everybody, give them like a high level overview of you and your brand and all the amazing things that you have going on in this world.
Excellent. So, I'm the owner of the Art of Decluttering. So, the podcast is the Art of Decluttering podcast. And we also do in-home services in Melbourne, Australia. And so, I love that. We're in people's homes all the time, just helping them to clear that clutter and set homes that they can actually enjoy. I also do a lot of virtual sessions around the world. So, I do all our virtual sessions, and I love that. I love getting to see in people's homes in all kinds of places and help them no matter where they're at. I'm an author like yourself, and so yeah, it's all about helping people find freedom from the clutter in their homes and freedom to enjoy the things that actually matter. Because you and I, Laurie, have way better things to do than be decluttering all the time. We want to go and live our awesome lives, but often what holds people back is the clutter, and so we just want to help them clear that out and go enjoy life.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. So, in addition to all of the stuff that you have going on professionally, you're married, have two kids, two
Yeah.
teenagers.
Well, yes, you're correct. They're still teenagers, but Jesse's now 18, which is 18 an
That's
adult in the US because that's an adult in
yes,
Australia.
and that is just gross because he's like
You've
11.
watched him grow up, I know.
Yes, yes, because he's seriously like that is
Yeah.
just insane. So what is he going to like university? Is
He's
that
studying at the moment, yeah. So he's doing sports and recreation and unsure yet where that'll take him, but he's a great kid. And Elijah, our 16-year-old, has actually just helped us. And I know I want to hear about your renovation project
yeah, for
because
sure.
we've been doing a big reno project and he's actually been on site with me most days. And we have loved having like this mother-son project that we've been doing for the last couple of months. It's been really, really fun.
Yes, and that was actually there's two things, and we'll get into it that were sort of like the the catalyst for this particular recording
Yeah,
is I've been talking on my socials, even though I have this like love-hate relationship with social media, but I've been talking on
good.
socials, I've been talking on the show about this renovation project that we've been doing. And then I popped in yours, and all of a sudden it was an episode where you were talking about your own renovation. And that's why I was like, we are living like parallel lives in two different, parts
Ends
of
of
the
the earth.
world.
Yeah.
Um, tell us a bit about it because it
So,
sounds very
yeah.
cool.
It was really fun. We actually just finished it. It was 5 days ago. I think we finished it. And so for us, what it was is we live on a corner block. And when we first moved in, my boys said to the lady who lived next door to us, who at that stage would have been in her late 80s, they said, Eunice, one day when you die, like kids have no filter.
Filter.
Um, we want to buy your house and move in. Like the kids, their plan was they were probably 5 and 7. Their plan was when Eunice is finished with her house, they will buy the house as like 5 and 7 year olds and they will get married and they will both move in with their wives next door to their mum and dad. Like sweet, sweet plan. I'm never letting my children move in next door.
Oh my
But
gosh.
Eunice on her deathbed reached out and said, I need to sell the house. I'm about to pass away. She was in her mid 90s, and said, do you guys still want to buy the house? And we were like, yes, we'll buy it today. And so we did that. And so it was in original condition, Laurie, like it was original carpets, original curtains. I think everything was being held together by a mighty army of dust mites because as soon as we like tried to pull the carpet up, it just disintegrated. Like it was really, really bad condition. So we had to gut the whole thing. In one room, it smelt so bad that we had to take all the plaster off, and it still smelt so bad. The builders said we actually have to pull all the joists out of the flooring and start again because the smell is in the timber. So it was not
Wow.
glorious, but it has been so much fun. So we did it in 10 weeks, gutted it, pulled out walls, new kitchens, new bathrooms, new everything. And we now have tenants living in it.
Wow. So, well, okay. So, yeah, I have questions. So, yes. So, you answered question number one. So this is designed now to be like a rental property or
Correct. Yep.
investment property.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And the beautiful thing is we've got friends who have moved in next door now
Oh, that's so fun.
because they were looking for
Do the
somewhere.
boys still want to live there? That's what I
No,
want to know.
no, no, that novelty has well and truly worn off.
Okay. So, how big is this property? Like, how big is the
It's
house?
5 bedroom.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
actually it's a main home, which is a 3 bedroom, 2 living home. And connected via the same roof, so undercover, just joined via a little deck, is a two-bedroom, one bathroom, one kitchen bungalow. And so we
Oh.
renovated both.
So
And so
could you rent them as two separate
you
like
could, but it would have been way more expensive to do it that way.
sure, sure,
And so
sure.
we rented it all as one. So one person's in the bungalow and there'll be two people in the house. So yeah, it's a big house. So 5 bedrooms, two bathrooms, and two kitchens. So
That's a
lots
lot.
of renovating,
Yes.
lots of painting.
And when you did it, you always knew it was going to be investment or a rental property.
Correct.
So your process, at least this for me, because we with ours, it was designed like when we and we didn't fully gut it. We gutted like
Mm,
parts of it, right? We gutted the
yep.
bathrooms. We didn't gut the kitchen because the kitchen was in pretty good shape. So we did some
Great.
cosmetic-y things to that. But we knew that we were going to enjoy it as
Yeah.
a as a vacation, as a second home investment, but we were also the plan was also to do some rentals like
Hmm.
maybe summer rentals or whatever because it is
Holiday
a
rentals. Yeah.
right. Um and so my mindset as I'm renovating it and I'm designing it had a slightly different spin on it because
Hmm.
normally when I go into a client's home or even my own home and it's your primary residence, I'm factoring storage for different things and
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it from a purely, well, no, I shouldn't say purely, that's a lie, but I'm thinking about it like function of all the
Function.
things.
Yeah.
And with this mindset, it was a little bit more fun because I got to focus more on aesthetic, like function as well, but like
Yeah.
different function. Like if someone's a guest or someone's whatever.
Well, that's exciting, isn't it?
What about you? What was your, I'm curious to know like what how your process may have
Yeah. Well, the
differed.
process for me was about, so let's be honest, the first goal for us was to keep it within budget because it wasn't our primary residence. And so there wasn't this, oh, but it's worth spending the extra money to have a tile that, no, it was worth getting the tile that will be hardy, that
Yes.
is going to actually last the distance. So, but the other thing that I really liked thinking about is making the spaces as multi-purpose and as um like I didn't want them to be cold and I didn't want them to just be bare bones, but I did want it to be able to be a study or a spare bedroom or a home office or a nursery or a music room or a craft room. So I was thinking about that as I went through. What I really noticed that I did differently as an investment property than in my home is because I wasn't thinking, where am I going to put my bike? Where am I going to put my picnic set? So I actually went in and created lots of different types of storage. So one like kind of linen broom cupboard, we took all of the shelving out and just had it as this like open tall cupboard. And another one we put additional shelves in so you could have, say, storage things in it. And another one I was thinking, okay, well, if you had your mop and your broom, you could put it in there. And another one I was thinking, okay, this is really deep. So I actually wanted to create lots of different options for storage
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know. I didn't know whether it would be a family living in the main house and then maybe some older parents in the bungalow. I didn't know if it would be teenagers in the bungalow or if someone would use it as a home office. Like, because I didn't know, I had to create it so that it had lots of different ways of functioning, which is different than we do in any home when you know who's there, what your purpose is, because you've got a little bit more guidelines.
I love it. Yeah, it's that versatility and
Versatility, that's the word.
no,
Yes.
it's so true. And I guess you articulated it better than I did, but I think I also, to a degree, approach certain things that way.
Yeah.
And even in the closets, you know, where normally my brain gets super granular because I'm like, okay,
Yes.
who's using this? What are the habits? What are they doing? And I'm like kind of reverse engineering it. And here you're like, okay, how can we maximize this space? But
Yes. And how do we keep it where there's options?
yes,
So true.
yes,
Because you're not trying to find the spot for the Lego. You're trying to create spaces where anything can go.
yes, yes. I love it. Did you enjoy the process? I
I
mean,
loved it.
you
I
did.
loved it, Larry. My body did not. I ruined my wrist trying to lift something that was way too heavy and then still had to paint a 5 bedroom, two kitchen, two bathroom house. I tore a pec muscle. My body is still definitely in recovery. but I absolutely love the process. And I would do it again in a heartbeat if I could do it with the builder that I worked with, because he's amazing. And if I could somehow convince the bank to lend me the money, but they won't.
I love it. That's awesome.
Did you enjoy doing yours?
Well, I did. And in the spirit of transparency, we outsourced a lot of it. So
Right.
our one of the main differences between our two projects is yours was right next door. So you were right there.
Correct.
You could hop over.
We pulled the fence down, Laurie. Like we made it as easy as possible
Wow.
to go between.
So our property on a good day is 3 hours away.
Wow. Yeah, no, you can't be involved on the
So
day.
I delegated and outsourced pretty much everything because except for like the design and all that stuff, right? Like I was very hands on. But I had an incredible builder. I have an incredible team, and shout out to my realtor because he was a major contributor for making this all
Wow.
possible because he was so great throughout the whole process and has a wonderful network within himself. And that's which made it so easy because we talk a lot. And I know you do as well, like this, the know, like, and trust factor. You're
Yeah,
bringing
it's
people
huge.
into your home. And I've never been somebody who's just like a quick price shopper, maybe because I'm in a service business and I don't
Yeah.
make decisions based on price because I want
Yeah.
the right person. And the from the landscape team to the building team, and obviously I had to get a connection, but like the people that he connected me with, I was like, yes, you're it. Like
Oh, that's so good,
we
isn't
met on
it?
site and the communication was great and loved it. So I felt very safe and trusted and heard with our design, with our builder design
Mm,
team. And I was hands-on in picking everything, but the actual execution of it, like I
yeah,
wasn't tiling, I wasn't painting, I wasn't doing the heavy lifting.
yeah.
And so it was nice for me, because I got to just be like, okay, I want shiplap on that wall. And then I would show up and I'd be like, oh my God, there's shiplap on that wall.
It's, you know what, as we're talking, it really reminds me that there's different ways of engaging, decluttering, and organizing too. Like sometimes you do have the capacity, like I did, to put aside some of the burdens of work and life and actually like focus and do a lot of the hands on yourself. And there's other times when, for whatever reason, you can't be the person actually executing it and you need to bring in an incredible team. And that's just as valid. Like you get the same results, you have the same enjoyment, but sometimes you can be involved and sometimes you have to bring in the team and go, hey, this is the project and I really need your support with this.
Yeah. And I mean, it's making the project get done in a
Yeah.
timely fashion. And it's making me enjoy it. So like we're able to, we're able to enjoy it. And it was, cause we wound up closing at the end of November. And so it was right heading into the Thanksgiving Christmas holiday season. So
Huge.
we closed and we did a lot of the behind the scenes prep with like figuring out, I did all my like selections
Oh, the
during
fun
that
stuff.
during that time, which was super fun. Um, and then the team actually started work right after the new year. And it was about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, I would say,
Yeah.
of them doing it until we could actually like start moving in. And so it's been great. And when I go up there, because again, I can't just like run up there really quick or run
No,
over
it's not
there
a
for
quick
five
trip.
minutes. Yeah. So I'll be back up there. Well, by the time this drops, I'll have been back up there. But going up for Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, lovely.
So I'll do another lot like video live, whatever reveal, because I've been talking about it so much. I was like, people should be
We
able
want
to
to see
see.
it. We
Yes.
really do. We really do.
Okay, so that's all great, but there was also another reason. We're gonna like also not just talk about ourselves and our renovations, but when I was I was actually on my car ride home from our house and I wound up binge listening to a bunch of your shows, right? Because I
Ah,
was in the car and I was like, oh, I haven't caught up with Amy in a while. Let me listen to her. And so that's when I learned about your renovation and all the things. And you were talking about this one particular topic that I wanted to like pull the car over on the highway and be like, oh my gosh, and message you. But I waited until we got home and I said, we need to have a catch up on the show. And I want you to come and talk about this particular topic because found it so fascinating.
Yeah.
So, can you just tell our listeners a little bit about what it is?
Yeah,
And
we're gonna geek out on everybody, and we're gonna talk about maths, and we're gonna
yes,
talk about thermodynamics because what we wanted to talk what so I did a podcast episode on entropy, which is the second law of thermodynamics, and it states that everything moves towards a state of disorder. And when I heard that, like I was listening to a science podcast and they were just talking about this and blah, blah, and I went, oh my gosh, this applies to everything that we do in our homes. Even this afternoon, Laurie, I got a text from a client and said, why do I feel like this is never done? And I was like, this is why, because entropy, because every bit of order in our lives, every bit of creation, the whole world, our bodies, every item that we own is moving towards a state of disorder. And so we're constantly fighting against that. And that doesn't mean we should. I mean, the option is you can just like throw your hands up in the air and go, "Meh, it's thermodynamics and it's a law of the universe. I'll roll with it." But also, it makes us think, okay, well, I know what I'm fighting against sometimes, and what do I need to do to counteract some of the outcomes of that?
I mean, it's when I heard it, it was one of those moments where I was like, "Phew, this is crazy." And it, for people that don't, because you and I are all about like trying to get to the root of it. If we can get to the
Yeah.
root of it, we can solve it. Like
Yeah. We're not
let's
just the pretty container girls.
right. And so when I heard this, it was both like a relief, like, oh my God, there's an answer. And then there's also another part of it, depending on how your perspective is, where you could be like, well, that kind of sucks because you are
Yeah.
always swimming upstream, right? You're like,
Yeah.
you're going like against the grain if you know that like the law of thermodynamics.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think I got past like basic science in school. Like, this is
I'm
not
not
my,
sure I did either, but this hit me right between the eyes when I
you
heard
know,
it.
if it's like, why are we doing this if we know that it's always going to be a battle?
Yeah.
But I don't think it has to be. And I think
No.
that's the key. So so dig in a little bit, and we can even
Yeah.
we can link to that episode in our show notes also. But give, like, if you could just summarize for our listeners who haven't
Yeah.
heard your episode, like share some of the information because I feel
Yeah.
like it's very, very relevant.
I think it's broad ranging, really, because you can talk about entropy on a large scale. So if you think the universe is moving towards a state of disorder, our bodies are moving towards a state of disorder. But then you get granular and you think, okay, that board game that I'm keeping, even though I don't really play it, but maybe one day grandkids will come along and maybe they'll play it, or maybe someone will. And you think, actually, that particular board game and all the pieces within that board game and the cardboard that the board game is encased in, all of that is going to be in a perpetual move towards disarray. The cardboard's going to break down, the pieces are going to disintegrate. And so when we keep things in our homes that we're not using, they're only getting worse. And so if you think, well, I don't want to make a decision on this today, when you make a decision on it in 5 years, it has become the victim or always was the victim of entropy. And admittedly, entropy is not like you click your fingers and the thing falls apart in your hands, but it is this constant movement towards that. My sister and her husband manage a tip or a dump in far north Queensland. And I often think that what we keep in our homes is we keep things that should probably go and be rubbish or trash. And by keeping them in our homes, that doesn't stop entropy. I think people think, oh, if I keep it in my home, it's still good. But as soon as I give it to the dump, then all of a sudden it starts to become rubbish. No, no, no. It's becoming rubbish right in front of your eyes. And so you can kind of shift your perspective of like, the items in my home are only getting worse. How do I, A, organize my home so that I can care for them and treat them well? And, how do I make sure that my leather shoes don't get moldy? How do I create my home so that it's easy to dust, it's easy to keep clean? Because you can prolong the life of things. But also, a lot of the stuff in your home, you're just never going to use again. And it's only getting worse. And maybe if you donate it now, there's a little bit of life left in it. And if you wait 15 years till you finally downsize and then you donate it, there may not be life left in it. So there is hope because the decisions that you make today, knowing entropy exists, can actually give your items another life rather than just waiting and then having to throw them in the bin because they've, lost function.
I just had a thought as you were
Yeah.
talking. So, well, there was a couple things. So, first of all, I don't, before I get into my thought, I think for the way I approach it, because again, I do a lot of work with the Enneagram. We've talked
Yeah.
about it on our show, right? And so when we're looking at, and even before the Enneagram, I would talk about the three types of clutter, right? Your three main buckets, your physical, emotional, calendar clutter. And when we're talking about entropy, you're talking logic, right? It's a data driven,
That's true.
logical. I don't even know what is it like
Yeah, well, it's a law. Like it
theory. It's a
is.
law,
It's
right? It's a
yeah,
law, right?
yeah.
So it's fact, or you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so it's
Yep.
coming strictly like there's no emotion in
No.
what it is. And especially the people that call us in or listen to our show a lot, are struggle because there's this huge emotional component
Yes.
that they wrestle with, which is fair, right? And
Mm.
that
Yep.
that emotional component is either guilt or fear or nostalgia, but it's this emotional pull that is playing into, and they're creating that scenario, that story of
Yeah.
my grandchildren are going to play with this game, or my daughter is going to wear this, my, prom dress. Literal conversation I had. Her daughter's 5 with a
Yeah. It's a
and
long
she's a
time to
friend,
wait.
right? Like I'm not
Yeah.
shaming her, but I'm just like, no, like I don't know about that. Like, is it
Mm.
worth you taking up your space for the next literal decade
Yeah.
on the thought that your now 5-year-old daughter might want to wear? And maybe the answer is yes, but for a lot of people, your space is way more important
Yeah.
than that. But it's taking that mind shift of going, I hear you over here, giving me this law, this very
Mhm.
data
Mhm.
driven textbook definition, but actually being able to like connect those dots and apply it when I'm sitting here making my decisions, not from logic, but
Yeah.
from emotion. I think that is that bridge. How do we get people who are struggling with the emotional
Mm.
hold to make peace with and allow that logic to drive their
Yeah.
decision making?
And I think that's the right way to word it to make peace. It's not about allowing, like trying to squash our emotions in order that the logic would override. And it's not about saying, well, intuition's good, but it's actually about making peace with it. I think sometimes storytelling can be a really important part of that. And actually taking, I'm not I mean, actually, that's not true. I was going to say I'm not fired up about maths and stuff. That's not true. I totally am. I'm a total nerd. I love it. It does fire me up. However, when you see the practical outworkings of it, like hearing, oh, this is the second law of thermodynamics and da 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 da. And then once I actually started to think about what that looked like in my life, what that looked like in my home, what that looked like with my stuff, then it becomes a little bit more real. And I think it's a lot to expect someone to hear just a law and go, that's going to change my life. But when you can actually add that to the whole picture, so, it's not like you or I ever go into a client's home and go, like, this is the law, this is the way to do it, this is the logic. We come in well rounded and we come with different tools in our tool belt. And I think, with the hundreds and hundreds of episodes between our podcasts, there's such a good blend that we actually do create this whole picture because we are whole human beings. Like there is a part where we do need to think about the logic side of it.
Mhm.
Sometimes I can be working with a sentimental person and I present something logically, and all of a sudden they're like, yep, done. That's the decision made. I think, whoa, that's not what I expected. Because we are, complex humans that need to have all these different things in order and at peace to make decisions sometimes. What do you think?
I agree 100%. And the other thing that I was going to say is because I'm always trying to think of like how can we, and I don't want to say it's overplay, but like how can we hack this, right?
Yeah.
How can we easily incorporate this really
Yep.
complex law and into our daily lives? And for me, the way I was interpreting it in my own brain was just making, like you said, making peace that the stuff in our homes, our material things are transient. And that's not a bad thing. Like
Mm.
they're here
Hmm.
for a particular period of time
Yeah.
and then they no longer serve us, whether that means they are literally disintegrating, like the carpet in the house that you
Yes.
bought, or it's just like it doesn't fit us, our kids outgrew it,
Yeah.
whatever. And I always, and that's why I love the work that we do with the Enneagram because it challenges you
Yes.
to work those muscles that you don't normally see. And if you are somebody that is naturally drawn to the emotional side of things, that's the lens that you're going to make your decisions naturally. And it isn't until you are intentional about looking at the logical side of things and saying, how am I going to take action on this? That you get out of that state of paralysis because it's
Mm.
very easy. And as a mom of a kid who's a big feeler and can get stuck in the emotional loop of things, when we talk about it from that logical standpoint, and it doesn't mean that you're so detached, but you're just approaching it from a different angle, like you said you did with your client, that they're
Mm.
like, I never thought of it. And that makes sense because that's not how their brain works. So
Yeah.
incorporating this law of thermodynamics in a very real and practical way can give somebody like it's like a new lane in a highway that opens up that wasn't there because they just never
Yeah.
they didn't know, or like here's the back way to get there. You're like, oh, I didn't even know that that was an option.
And it might even be about just noticing things. So I think the area in our homes that we see entropy play out the most is in our kitchens. You know,
Mm,
you and I, if we do a pantry or a kitchen declutter, or particularly if you do a fridge declutter, you're seeing like the very, very quick workings of entropy. The floppy carrots, the moldy this, the flour that's been there and is all gross. And so when we throw food out because of entropy.
mm,
And when you pick up a packet of something and the actual packet is, not working, or the lid on a tub has broken and the plastic's become fragile, the problem is entropy. And so even if you're not using it as a framework in which you look and make decisions, sometimes noticing it and being okay with it and realizing this is not because I'm a bad person and I just didn't eat the carrots quick enough and now I'm decluttering them by throwing them out. Like this is just the natural law of life. And
right.
so sometimes that just being aware of something can make a difference to how you feel, how you make purchasing choices, how you make decluttering choices. And sometimes that's enough. It doesn't need to be like the big thing for the declutter, but it's like here's another tool, here's another framework, here's another lens you can look through.
Yeah, I love that because it takes away, if you can look at it, it takes away that shame element that a lot of
Hmm.
people face, that guilt and shame.
Yeah.
And the way I'm like, okay, so how do we, I don't want to say do better, right? But what choices can we make? So maybe we're not buying the volume because we know that the
Yeah.
reality of it is we can't consume that amount in the amount of time,
Yeah.
you know, when we go through, I see how would you apply it? Let me ask you, I'm gonna actually ask you a question. I think it's very tangible when you look at something in a kitchen because there's like food that's actually getting moldy and
Yeah.
expiring. How would you apply it in like with clothes, for example,
Mm.
that aren't, I think I'm picturing in my mind as I'm like thinking of this example,
Yeah.
someone's got lots of tags on things that they haven't worn, things that just, overflowing with stuff, maybe different sizes because they
Hmm.
fluctuated their weight and just feeling kind of overwhelmed. What about that?
Yeah. So in a wardrobe, I find that entropy really, really helps with decluttering because what you're looking so sometimes when we're looking at decluttering, you can look at the individual items and you can be making decisions about all the things with tags on. But sometimes the easiest decisions in a wardrobe is to go, what has the clear effects of entropy? So I'm looking at the leggings that have become see-through, the jeans that had the crutches worn out of, the top that the elastic has gone on, the bra that the underwire fell out of. Like sometimes you can use kind of that lens to clear out the easy decisions because you're like, that's non-recoverable. That has moved towards a state of disorder. That
Hmm.
bra, I'm not wearing it again. It, what for whatever reason. And so I think you can use it to kind of scrape that bottom level of stuff off. And I think then when you're looking at items that are new, the entropy for those items is not necessarily going to be that they're going to be worn out, that they're going to be the elastic's going to go, that they're going to become see-through. The entropy is not because of overwearing, is it? The entropy is actually because it's possibly sitting in a cupboard without a whole lot of airflow, and things that sit in cupboards without airflow just naturally disintegrate. It's not good for fabrics. You might have moths. You might find that you end up going and buying more things. And so, like, it actually changes. So, the way that you look at a new item with entropy might be different than the way that you look at an old item. And so, you might look at new items and think, well, these aren't going to last forever. So, either I wear them now, or maybe I just donate them so somebody else wears them, because I know that in 20 years' time, these are going to end up in landfill one way or the other.
Hmm.
Worn or unworn, they will probably end up in landfill. So what's my choice? Worn or unworn? I wear them or someone else wears them. And so that might be a way that you can kind of use that framework to make those decisions in a wardrobe.
Yeah, I love it because I just love having different tools. Like, and you said
Yeah.
that, right? That you can apply with somebody. And the other thing, as you were talking, is I feel like this, again, it's not a theory, it's a law, but this approach and bringing this in as part of the decision making process
Yeah.
for somebody that is more analytical, is more data driven, that's struggling because they have rationalized it in their minds,
Yeah.
can also add a different perspective. So it's not only for the person that is an emotional clutterer
Yeah.
person, it is for people because we can all justify keeping things for different reasons.
Yeah.
And so I found it, and again, I'm going to encourage you guys to like listen to Amy's episode, even though a lot of what she's saying is repetitive here, because it was so fascinating. And at the end of the day, the goal, I think, and I tell me what if you differ, but we want you to be able to use, wear, and love the stuff that is in
Yeah.
your home.
Yeah. And if you think about entropy when you're purchasing, you might purchase clothes that will last longer, that are better quality, that are materials that will last longer, because you know that they're going to wear out, you know that they're not going to last as long. And so if you buy a KitchenAid that is better quality, it is
Hmm.
going to degrade slower. And so you're over time going to spend less money of it and have less stuff in landfill. So it also can affect your purchasing decisions, which I think is a powerful thing for many of our clients, because you end up with, if you just buy cheap, then you have this turnover and you often don't get rid of the old one and you have the new one, and it just adds up.
Exactly. I love it. Amy, I could talk to you all day, but I know that you have to go to bed
And you need to start your day.
and I need to start my day. Tell our listeners where can they find you all over the
Yeah.
interwebs.
So theartofdecluttering.com.au is my website. But if you just put in Google the art of decluttering, or in Chat GPT, or in Instagram or Facebook or podcast app, the art of decluttering, I am confident that if that's what you pop in, you will find me.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, my friend, for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And I want to see pictures of your renovation.
I'm going to send you some as soon as we get off this call. I'm going to send you some of my before and afters.
Yay. All right. And you guys, if you are new to our show, welcome. So happy that you're here. Please click the follow button or subscribe wherever you're watching, listening. As Amy said, between the two of us, we've got hundreds and hundreds of
Squillions.
podcasts episodes. So if there's a particular topic that you are interested in looking for, you could put into our search bar or reach out to us and we can direct you to what it is. If you're struggling with a particular area or you want to learn more about decluttering with ADHD or the Enneagram or building an organizing business, I am here for it. So I'm glad you're here, and we're here every week, and we'll be back again next week with another episode. Until then, I'm Lori Palau. Peace out.